And we'll be live in 3, 2. All right. Oh, go full screen. 1 second. There we
Does
go.
one go full screen?
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Rogue podcast, where we're going to talk about Kenobi Part 4. Oh, man. Boy, do I have some thoughts on this one. We'll just get right into it. If Jake wants to edit after the fact, he can. We'll leave that up to him. But right off the bat, overall rating of the episode. David?
Start with Carl. Still thinking.
Oh.
Still thinking.
I'd give it like a 5 or a 6.
So it was better than last week's episode.
Like marginal. It was like less egregiously bad.
I'd say a 6. I definitely liked it less than last week's, but it was less. It definitely felt less rushed.
I thought the beginning felt really rushed. Like it was just like boom, 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 boom.
So yeah, I guess we can talk a little bit through since we're. When was the last time I saw it 2 times yesterday, and I haven't seen it since. I've watched a lot of recaps, live streams, between Theory and Josh at Den of Nerds, really figuring out, or them talking about their thoughts on it. They're kind of ripping it to shreds at this point. And I don't blame them at all. But so they, and you guys are gonna have to tell me. They start out on the way. Yeah, that's right. On the way to Jabim.
Yep.
Kenobi is just chilling, and he goes pretty much right into the back to tank, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Which they take the stretcher over to the back to tank.
Would have been a perfect opportunity to have some flashbacks, but at this point, dude, we're not getting any.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just straight up not getting any. That's not. They left that for Book of Boba Fett, and
it's weird. It's so weird. Why do you bring back Hayden Christensen and put him in, and then you have a little scene, a very short, like 5 seconds, 0 budget scene where Obi-Wan thinks he sees him, and then it flickers away. And is that all we get of Hayden Christensen?
It surely looks like it, which is really sad. And I'm starting to fear that it was literally just a PR stunt, a PR campaign to parade,
draw interest,
Hayden around, for all the prequel fans. And I think that, I want to believe that they're using Hayden in pretty much all the Darth Vader scenes. I've seen, apparently the stunt person that does Vader said the only time he's been used was for the fire scene, which I imagine was more of a safety precaution than an actual stunt of like, all right, just in case something goes wrong, we don't want Hayden in the suit when we're blasting up some flames.
Yeah.
So other than that, Hayden's been in it, which has been great, and we'll talk about it a little later, but the end of Part 4, I think, where Vader's like walking, strutting across, I think that looked like Hayden just by his mannerisms, or a very, very good kind of pantomime action guy. But I believe that was Hayden. I think they're using him under the suit, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Weird. So weird.
So he goes
like we
into
ran out of money.
he spends a couple seconds in the back to tank, and the parallels between Vader and Kenobi, and I feel at that point they were sensing each other. We can debate on if at the end of episode 2, if Kenobi was actually reached out to Vader and they sensed each other, or if it was for cinematic effect. I believe at this point, because they both have seen each other, they're kind of wrestling in the Force with each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that's really all we get. I can't even remember. I believe there were some flashbacks to episode 3 material. Am I just thinking things, or was there actual? I think there was flashbacks again.
I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
Because wasn't there? Yeah, I get all these flashbacks mixed up because they keep reusing the same stuff.
Yeah, I think it was just like episode 3, him. We can pull it up. But even after that, it really just, we're on Jabim. We're supposed to be on the planet where all of the Force children and people escaping are going through, and there's no one there. It just feels like once again the show is just, the scope is so small, the world building is so small, and there's really little consequence to anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
The only thing I could see with that is I don't know if that was like a final destination place or if it was like just kind of like a way station. That was kind of the impression I got, which would explain
Yeah, that's fair.
the fewer amount of people, but I don't know if that's what they were going for.
Because the dude was really like heavily insisting that, they didn't want they didn't want a Jedi there to bring people there to hurt them. So that would make sense if it's something that small and like not organized at all. And
okay, so it was more flashbacks to their fight on Mafuso. I just looked it up. So no flashbacks to Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I mean, just, it feels like there's so many missed opportunities here with things they could do, maybe should do. I feel like most people might be expecting something a little more from this, especially since he's going into the Bacta. And I mean, but I guess Boba Fett was the only show that used that as an opportunity for flashbacks. But it's so recent that it just feels like the norm for that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we immediately go back into Leia and Reva, which I personally, as far as the episode as a whole, I thought Reva did she was better this episode, in my opinion. Now, once again, if I had a choice, I'd say I want more Kenobi understanding than Reva, but how she was in the episode, I didn't mind entirely. What thoughts do you guys have on Reva this episode?
Well, this would kind of get close to the end, but I almost think she's too like smart for where she is. I don't know. Like, I don't mind her being cunning, but she seems to have like this master plan that doesn't make sense for someone in her position to have.
Agreed. I would put the asterisk on that, where her last little showboat was like, it wasn't more so Reva, but it was more so Vader just being so chill with everything.
Yeah.
That didn't.
I don't know.
He goes, and we're all over the place, which is completely fine. But he goes from super angry, like red hot Sith rage, force choking, to like, I underestimated you. What?
Just doesn't seem right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like it doesn't pass the gut check.
And just I'd say the biggest, like, her character is good. I feel like her character is probably the best written character out of all of them. The issue is, to get her there, they have written everybody else at like a second grade level. We're like, everybody else is idiots. Everyone, like all of them, Vader included, like all of them idiots. And you're like, man, like, you don't have to dumb everybody down to make a good character.
Apparently Disney does, because that's how they write everything.
I just lazy writing in my mind.
It really
lazy
is.
writing. Like,
and go ahead. Did you have something else to add?
I mean, not really, but like, kind of hitting into that Vader stuff. Yeah, there's no reason why he shouldn't be like going ham and being like, well, when were you gonna tell me? Like, you don't think you owe an explanation to me? Like, oh no.
It's like, yeah, you're doing stuff behind my, how about you tell me? Yeah, like, tell me. He's the one in charge here, and
plans go through me.
Yeah, exactly. And man, I'm trying to think of ways they could have saved this. I feel like because we're 10 years before Rebels? What if
9?
Yeah, 9, 10. What if they literally made Reva the Grand Inquisitor? I feel like that would make her character make so much more sense.
Like the original Grand
the
Inquisitor.
original Grand Inquisitor. Like I just thought of this just on the spot. Maybe in comics and such, the Grand Inquisitor has always been that character. I think that probably is the case.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
they're not afraid to retcon their own stuff. I feel like literally make her the Grand Inquisitor, and all this the large focus on her makes sense.
Well, and I know where
Yeah.
they're going with her. We all know where they're going with her. It's
Where's
a
that?
redemption story.
You think so? Oh my! I
Oh,
really hope
100%.
not,
I, I,
dude.
I have zero like doubt in my mind. As soon as that's the only issue, like, you know, with the new Disney stuff, like every story, like the main focal point has to be a redemption story. We got
I don't
Fallen
know.
Order. We got, I mean, Fallen Order. They had their own pull, but like Boba Fett, like, I mean, it does
Yeah,
seem
but
like that.
it's usually the good guy, and even if they were going for that angle, they're kind of doing it with Obi-Wan. I don't think that she is going to be like I don't think she's going to become a good guy. I do think though that like she's I think she's going to fight Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's going to kill her, honestly.
I hope so, dude.
I feel like that would be the right arc for her character. Like she kind of succeeds, but she has to fight an actual strong Obi-Wan, and like he wins. So,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
man. So there's two main ways I've seen this going ever since this show started, and we saw her in the very first episode. Was number one, she turns good either at the end, more than likely, because we didn't ever see her again. Turns good at the end, kills herself, saves somebody, kills herself, turn to
Mhm.
the light side, become one with the Force, etc. That, or like as she's doing, piecing things together somehow better than everybody else, but piecing. Vader literally knew Bail Organa. But anyways, piecing things together, and then Obi-Wan realizing, all right, well, it's either Luke or her, so sayonara.
Like as far as he has to
One
kill
of them
her
can
to
live.
protect
One
Luke.
of them can live.
Yeah.
I have a choice.
Yeah. I mean, man, I just feel like they've obviously, they're obviously done writing, the show's all out and such, but it just seems like they never fail to create characters that, like you mentioned, they have to dumb down the original characters for this new character to make sense and or succeed at everything. She really has yet to fail, which that's literally been our number one gripe with all these main Disney characters, the main characters. They never fail
Yeah.
or have anything to like. She's never failed yet. I mean, I guess you could argue that she failed to crack Leia,
Yeah.
but then she had this ingenious backup plan of putting a tracker in the robot. But
I knew
Yeah.
I knew it right away. As soon as she saw that robot, I was like, man, she's gonna like put a tracker on that thing. Just know it.
I knew she was when I didn't even think Leia left with the robot. That was one of my biggest issues with the episode, is that
Where
they
did
kind
this
of
come
just dropped
from?
that revelation on you when Leia's strapped to like a chair in like a torture chamber, and then Obi-Wan literally picks her up and they run. Like, and the robot we see earlier is taken from her. So where does she get it back? Like, is it just lying on the floor for her?
that's
One of the many
true.
plot
I
I
mean,
don't
holes.
think it's feasible for her to actually have that right now.
Plot hole.
yeah, we'd have like it's once again it's one of the many things we really have to explain as to why it makes sense that she has it because yeah, I mean we don't see it and like you said there's really no chance if unless I
They
mean
take it
was
anywhere.
it put it back in her pocket like
Yeah.
Riva had to put it back in her pocket at some point in the
I
torture
thought she
chair.
was just gonna take it away so that she
Yeah.
didn't have a droid running around. Like that makes way more sense.
Yeah, I mean she did
Well,
take it out and then yeah, we kind of never really see it
Yeah.
past then.
and the only way it makes sense for her getting it back is take it out, and in the very next room, you just stick it right there on the top shelf where everyone can see it and grab it on their way out. Don't forget to wipe off your feet and go from there.
Well, like then you at least have to show Leia grabbing it as they run, because that's like kind of important.
I
It's
mean,
weird
apparently we don't.
Yeah, like
to show.
literally just have her as Kenobi is carrying her out. She screams, "Lola!" And
And then
then they
like
run back into the
grabs
room
it
and
and
then
they
they
run.
run out. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we can talk about a whole lot this episode. But before we continue, I think there's something very important we need to talk about from last week's episode. Our biggest fear at the end of episode 3 was realized, and
Yeah.
Darth Vader had no plan to catch Kenobi, had no plan in letting him
Get away.
go. He literally got away, and now we have
Because
to
of fire.
explain how fire stopped. Like,
A small strip of fire that you could walk around. He didn't even have to use the force. They could have walked and caught them.
it's just
Couldn't
like,
afford a bigger budget for more fire.
do you see what your story? I feel like at some point you look at the story and you see the whole thing through, and you realize, oh yeah, that doesn't really make sense. We should explain something of like anything. Just at least at least acknowledge it.
Where is the directors? Release the Snyder Cut.
I mean, pretty much, dude. Like, so it's just another one of those things where we can't. There's no explanation whatsoever.
I feel like there's so much micromanaging by the Kennedy side that these shows come out, they get filmed, and then Kennedy watches it, and the team, that whatever main team is like micromanaging these movies and certain shows, and then next thing you know, we have a full reshoot for the whole show, subbing out like a third or half of the show with a new half. We got deadlines, running out of time. Oh, finish it, throw it together, send it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what her involvement or Filoni's or any of their involvements in
Oh,
are.
I don't think Favreau or Filoni are involved whatsoever with this show. And we did know that Kennedy stepped in and said that they needed to rewrite Kenobi because it was too dark.
There's not enough hope.
So I feel like maybe Leia was never in the show.
That's what I said before, and I really think.
And she was added to show some level of hope.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but I mean, we'll never know.
It really does. It answers all the questions, and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Oh man! Like, so yeah, we have that glaring hole from episode 3. And of course, I shouldn't be surprised that as far as now, the robot. I don't think we'll see the loading robot again. So.
Or Ned.
Ned B is Ned B.
Ned B is Ned Scrap B.
Who really cares? But then, so they're on Jabim. Like we said, there's really no one there except maybe this is just an outpost. We can fill in their own story for them on that one. But then, what was that?
3 people, 3 main people.
We got Wade. I only remember Wade because
the man in the chair.
We've got Wade. We've got the chick, and then we've got O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son.
Yep, Ice Cube's son.
I was watching Josh's stream this morning, and it was hilarious because he was talking about how the dude is like, heck no, my wife was a Jedi in the Empire, killed her. 2 seconds later, heck yes, I'll help you. Like,
have y'all seen that Rick and Morty episode where they get the crew together? That's the heist episode.
I haven't seen. No.
Okay, well, it's just making fun of that where they run around and they just ask people and they kind of bend their arm, and they all just do that thing where like, I'm in, and it just reminded me of that, but it was an entire episode of that as like a joke, but they did it seriously.
I mean, it's pretty much the Goofy meme.
Yeah.
Son of a gun, I'm in.
Yeah, like, that's what it was. Yeah.
Literally, I'll do it again. Oh no, that is the Rick and Morty meme, not the Goofy.
Yeah.
The goofy one is I'll do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my goodness. That
It
was
just
nitpicky. I didn't at the time. I was like, okay, what? I guess he changed his mind. But
Yeah, I was just like, man,
whatever,
that's real fast.
whatever.
I attributed it to like,
Jedi mind tricks.
well, no, like it was kind of implied, or maybe he even said it, that he didn't want to put the people in danger that were there, but he was fine like risking his own skin.
I guess I don't know.
Because
It just
That's what it,
he never left the transport ship. So that
yeah.
yeah, but that's what it was kind of implied from my memory watching it. So I didn't even honestly like notice that part
yeah,
of it. You guys did?
yeah. I didn't really notice it too much, but I just thought it was funny when Josh was talking about it.
I
Heck
just thought the
no.
flip was jarring. Like I
Heck
wasn't like
yeah.
upset with it. It was like a noticeable change of thing, and that's why I felt the beginning was super rushed because they go through that, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm in," and it was just like boom, 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 boom. They're just rushing us to the Imperial
Facility.
base.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just the Imperial facility. The
Yeah.
unpenetrable
Fortress.
facility that
Yeah.
With
they
no defenses.
emphasized so strong. Yeah, like it's impenetrable. Am I saying
Impenetrable, I think
What's the
is
impenetrable?
that.
word?
No.
Except from maybe Cal Kestis talked to Tala and said, "Hey, 5 years ago in the
Give
Jedi
me the
Fallen Order video
secrets.
game, I entered it from the water and it was pretty chill, like easy peasy. You should do it too."
Yeah, maybe so.
Oh yeah, because this takes place after
5 years
Fallen
after, yeah.
Order. Ah,
So,
interesting.
dude, every episode seems to remind me that the production value is so low. It
Yeah,
This was supposed to be a movie.
really.
That's what
There's
they're
no
trying to tell me?
way.
This was supposed to
There's
be a
no
movie?
way.
Like
Maybe the first edition.
this does not have movie quality at all whatsoever. I mean, even the production value is not up to the level of
Even
Mandalorian.
Mando.
Even Boba Fett had good production value, and I think that show
Yeah.
was rushed.
Yeah.
Was it
And
not?
this, yeah, it was Rush. Because like we talked about it, how like you had the issue with Pedro Pascal, the contract holdouts,
Yeah, potentially that was a reason
and
for that.
yeah, and like more than likely it makes sense because the last two episodes had nothing to do with him. He wasn't even there, and then they had like a 30-second like teaser at the end where, oh, Mandalorian, he's off with Baby Yoda again,
Yep.
on their way.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean it's just really sad. The writing is subpar, the execution is subpar. Who knows if it's just Deborah. See, and that's part of it. I was talking to someone about was with this. So the scene where you have Leia and Kenobi walking out,
Mhm.
is that a
Yeah.
thing where the writing says, and this is just something I don't know about writing, does the writer say Kenobi, Tala, and Leia escape out the front entrance or out the facility to the main hangar, or does it say Leia and Kenobi sneak in the trench coat out of like how I wonder how detailed do they get in the writing, or is this Deborah Chow saying, let's see, well they would escape if they were to escape like the writer says they would go this way. I don't know
I
if you
don't
guys
know,
have
but
any.
that was pretty bad.
Remind me
I
again.
like when they're escaping the facility and they're going for their transport. It's just literally her, Obi-Wan, like with a full-on beard and a place full of
Oh
clean-shaven
yeah, they're just
people,
walking right through like broad day.
with a trench coat with a giant hump in it and legs, an extra set of legs. Totally not,
This is some
totally not
Phineas and Ferb
conspicuous.
stuff if I've ever seen it.
It was so bad. I don't
Yes.
understand how you would even think to like, this is a plausible means of escape for our characters.
Yeah, like I feel like you 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 have Leia do like the reverse backpack. So that'd be funny if they made a joke like Kenobi, he had a pot belly. So someone makes a joke of like, "Oh, I see you've been enjoying the cafeteria" or something like that. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
I would have just caused a distraction, like everybody else always does in every other movie, or in Star Wars, or in you name it. Oh, what do you know? There's an intruder in the West Wing. Go to the West Wing.
Yeah, Tala was on the. She could have gotten on the comms. Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean,
goodness.
you could do that so many different ways. There's a power. We have a flooding, generator room. You name it. Like,
Yeah, like literally, they did have a flooding room.
yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
pretty easy to write. I don't know about you guys.
Like last week, we had plenty of bad things to say. Let's talk about some good things in the episode. I already mentioned I like how Reva. I think her interacting with Leia for that. Like, if you just look at that, not necessarily in the scope of the Kenobi show, I kind of enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty good. Excuse me, was pretty good. The I'm blanking on the Force Unleashed Galen Merrick style takedown of the stormtroopers in the dark room.
Mhm.
That was pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Oh, yeah.
Even if his lightsaber didn't actually pierce the
Yeah.
stormtrooper.
It looked like that first one looked like it took a little too much effort,
Yeah,
but the
I don't know if
second one was fine.
he like I don't know if he's supposed to hit he hit it with the hilt and then chopped, but it looked like he hit it and then it bounced off.
It looked like he had to cut him like 3 or 4
Yeah.
times before he could like get through. I
Yeah.
thought it was weird.
But regardless, that scene, I would say the scene was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Finally seeing Obi-Wan like semi-remotely minuscule competent, and you're like, oh yeah, like he does. He can do cool things. We have the budget for it.
Yeah, the
I think
his
him
hallway
holding
scene.
the oh, I was gonna say I think him holding the water, like the glass, so they could escape was good. I don't
I
know. It
did.
showed him like reestablishing some sort of connection,
Yeah.
and him like the run out. I don't know. This is probably a little too negative for this, but and even with like the broader show, I feel like their movements are weird. Like they look like they're doing a walkthrough of the scene sometimes. Uh, I don't know. Like his run away from the water looked like he was going out for a light jog to me, and I
Instead
thought
of
it looked weird.
hurriedly
Like running away from
escaping.
a flooding room.
And that's what I wonder. Like, are there two different size volumes, and are they in a small volume when stuff like that happens? Like that could make
For
sense.
those, I
Why?
think those were sets. I'm leaning towards those being sets.
Okay.
Because that door, that door was a real set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like real.
I guess I would imagine the room that Tala was in, where she was talking to Kenobi. I imagine that was a volume.
Yeah.
Because the lighting looked pretty real. But yeah, that was. The water's cool. But yeah, it's just some like little things where them running away is like, oh, is that how you would run away from
Well,
Yeah.
potentially
they
dying?
could they could have like what they've done a lot in the volume, have a real door, and then the rest is just volume.
Yeah, I
And
imagine
then
they have a lot of that.
that would be why your running doesn't you can't run fast. Don't want to get to the end too fast.
Oh, maybe so. Huh?
The last.
um,
Oh, David, you have a thing. A good. We're still sticking
yes,
on good things.
Yeah.
positive. I got positive. I did really enjoy it when he was hiding and he's like, "Oh snap! They're about to catch me! They're about to catch me!" He's like, I can use the force here. He's like,
Yeah.
That part
that's
was
pretty
cool.
cool. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Flashback to A New Hope.
Flash forward or foreshadow.
Oh, big brain.
Yeah, because I liked how he was kind of like focusing, and he's like, yeah, that
Yeah,
was
like
a
find it. To find it.
cool little touch.
Mm-hmm.
And something we haven't talked about yet, but the tomb of Jedi and potentially others. That was
Mhm.
cool. I was talking to, yeah, was it David, you and I? Where
Yep.
I don't think they're gonna do anything with this. In this show, I would not expect them to do anything. If the past episodes are any indicator, they're not gonna do anything with this. And I wouldn't expect them to. It's not really a nitpick for me. But it was cool to see the people they had, and the one individual that we do know is Tara Sinube. The first guy he focused on is Tara Sinube, which is, for those of you who have seen the Clone Wars show, he is in the episode where Ahsoka loses her lightsaber and is stolen by I forget what they call them, like the skate walkers or something like that, because they're super fast. She
I don't
steals her
remember.
lightsaber.
I don't remember.
Do you
I'm not a
remember the character though?
No.
Really? He was the really
No.
old guy who had the lightsaber cane,
Oh yeah, I do remember him.
and like
Oh,
right at the end of the
So-
episode, he whips out his lightsaber cane. You're like, whoa, his lightsaber was a cane the whole time.
And he's the
King's
one
lightsaber.
with like the hair. He's like an alien, right?
Here, let me do the old
Yeah,
screen
he's the one
share.
that teaches Ahsoka that she needs to not be like Anakin and move too fast.
Yep, he's a
Yeah.
slow down
Yeah,
every
so
once in a while.
I'm looking it up, and one of the Jedi is Oppo Rancisis, and I'm pretty sure he's in the Phantom Menace. Is what they're
Okay.
saying.
Really?
Yeah, he's an
I-
alien. He's Jedi Master.
Oh, he's the snake dude.
Yeah, he's a snake dude.
Here, let's see if I can do a little screen share without.
Huh.
I guess, whatever. But yeah, he's the guy, the snake guy. He's in Clone Wars too
Oh, okay.
for a little bit. You see him kind of slithering around the.
Do you
Yeah.
guys think that the kid is the what do we do now, Master Anakin? No.
No. The dude was, or the kid. He had like these little fins coming off of his ears, so I think he
Oh, really?
wasn't.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I just saw the helmet.
So they're saying one of the Jedi, Coleman Kaj, I guess is how you'd pronounce that. Some Jedi. He's in
Actually,
he's in the background in the Clone Wars in a bunch of episodes, supposedly.
Okay.
so here's the kid. I'll share the screen real quick. Du-du-du. There's the kid. So you can see his like little fins coming off the side.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, you're right.
I was trying to figure out who he was, but he just didn't look familiar at all.
And then Tara Sinube
Oh.
is this guy.
You're on the kid again. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely remember like seeing him, but I probably
down
watched the
here.
episode once. Probably only watched the episode once.
Yeah, it was a good episode because it showed Ahsoka to not always be so hasty. I think he always said that. He's like, let's not be so hasty.
Yeah.
I thought, man, I was really convinced that the one girl without one of the girls on there was Luminara, because it does kind of look like her
Here, let's see if I can
a little bit,
scrub to what.
but it doesn't look like she has any like face tattoos or any markings at
Yeah.
all, which kind of makes me wonder.
Let's see. People are trying to say that the one guy with like the brick on his head was Papanoida, George Lucas's character.
Hmm.
And I
I'd have
don't
to
buy
see him.
that. I don't buy
I'd
that
have to
because why would they freeze Papanoida? That makes no sense.
Put George in it. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I heard rumors that George was on set a couple times.
Dude.
And I was like, George, turn it off.
Save us, master.
You're our George Lucas. You're our only hope.
You know, you weren't too bad. You weren't too bad. So you're trying to say that this lassie was
I don't know. I was thinking
Luminar?
it might be. I don't know if it was her. I think it might have been the other girl.
So, because
but I
there's someone else you only see momentarily, or there's a handful of people you only see momentarily. I don't think they show him anymore. But I can.
Yeah, I don't think it was her. She doesn't look familiar at all.
Yeah, Anyway, so my thoughts on that is that they are still alive, and they're keeping them in stasis to use force powers, for Palpatine to kind of use them or trying to harvest their force
Yeah.
sensitivity. I think
Yeah,
that makes the
Grogu.
most sense because their lightsabers are above in the Inquisitor conference room. You could see them lining the wall, and
Mhm.
it was like,
Oh.
why would you keep their lightsabers above and them below if they are solely trophies? I feel like you put them both in the same place if they're trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think keeping bodies as trophies is a really like Star Wars thing either, even for Sith.
You
Yeah,
did it with
that's
Luminara.
fair.
But the difference is Luminara was meant to draw people in, and this
Yeah.
is not meant to draw
No.
people in.
No,
It's
I
meant to
had the
keep
same
people
thought
in.
that John did, where it's for his like Palpatine zombie in Episode 9.
Yeah.
The research for that, but
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being a part of the Andor episode where they find out that they're harvesting force sensitive people or old
Mhm.
force sensitive people from Order 66 for personal use. So I
Yeah.
could see that being a thing.
Yeah, I wonder if they actually have a big plan with that or not.
But I mean, it would have been cool because if you're Kenobi walking through seeing these, it would have been cool for him being like he walks up to Sanube, he's like, Master Sanube. And like as he's going to people, he's like saying their names so we can be like, oh yeah, it's them. Like as he's going through, you'd think maybe he would have some verbal concern for these
Yeah.
people. But
Yeah, or even like, once again, you could do flashbacks.
That would be real hard with
It would.
non like real characters.
Yeah.
So, like the ones from the animated show. I don't
yeah,
know. I do
The
think
animated
having
ones, yeah.
some kind of indication for ones that we should know would be nice.
yeah, like if people were saying there was one person that they thought was Mace Windu because it appeared to be a bald black guy, but he had his right arm. So unless they went and found Mace Windu's right arm, then
Do a little sewing.
yeah, little Frankenstein,
That's
then it
unlikely.
probably wasn't him.
That's not Star Wars.
No.
Anything's
Yeah.
on the tail nowadays, dude.
It's fair. How did you guys when they talked about, they were kind of jumping ahead here, but when they talked about the speeders they had to assault the base, did you catch on when they said T-47? We got some old T-47s lying around. Did you guys catch on to what those were?
Yes, but I mean we saw them, didn't we? The snow speeders, or a variant of the snow speeder, or is that
Yeah,
what?
we saw them at the end, but they were on the base and they were like, "Yeah, we got some old T-47s laying around."
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't immediately know what T-47s were, so
I didn't either.
okay. I knew I had heard it, and I was like, "All right, like this is a very familiar ship, but I can't figure out what ship it is."
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because they're all T something.
Well, not necessarily.
T-14, T-15, 16, 17, T-47.
TGV.
What?
That's a tank. That's a tank.
Oh.
A real life tank or a
No, Star Wars tank.
Star Wars
Rebel
tank?
tank.
See, there you go. They're all T's.
Not the B-wing.
Well, that was actually one that wasn't made for the Rebels immediately. Remember from the Star Wars Rebels episode?
That was so
Hmm.
weird though, because so kind of a tangent there, but yeah, that definitely had a different origin initially. They like changed the origin story with that. So like in the Empire at War PC games, I want to say you like help discover those maybe when you play like the Rebel side. It's kind of fun. You get to like discover different technology. So there's a certain mission where maybe it's like AT-ATs or something like that get like introduced, and you get to use them as the Empire, and you're like, oh yeah, these seem good. They can drop troops, like blow stuff up.
Nice. Yeah. So my last bit of positivity before we potentially dive back into the deep dark abyss of everything else
Negativity.
was, and I talked about it earlier, was Darth Vader, about the 9 seconds where Darth Vader was visible to when he let up on Reva. So like the time in between of like his rage and just like I think the music
Mhm.
was pretty good, and then
Yeah.
just him walking in like the heavy footsteps, and then just reaching out and just choking, lifting him up and choking Reva. I
Yeah.
like that part. That was pretty cool. I want more of
Very
that.
nice. And you definitely can see it's Anakin, dude. It just looks. I mean, Hayden. It looks just like Hayden.
Just like his
Well,
movements, and like that's something
yeah,
Anakin would do.
just angry like Darth Vader, Anakin. Just, I get that
Chunky.
vibe.
Yeah. What about you guys? Was there anything else that you really enjoyed? And we didn't talk about we talked about the Kenobi hallway scenes, but it was cool to see him deflecting the blade, the blasters,
Yeah.
and doing that. I mean, it was what, like 3-4 minutes of footage, but it was really cool to see kind of that classic style of
Jedi.
lightsaber, just prequel style, yeah, of
Well,
lightsaber
it
combat.
did seem like they were kind of, and once again, this could be us reading way too much into it because it seems like that's every instance. However, it did seem like they were kind of hinting that he was relearning it, and then it took him a minute to actually like block the bolt,
Yes.
hit it, direct it where he
Oh
wanted it
yeah.
to go. All right, yeah, cool, got it.
Yeah, he was.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was very intentional with
Rusty.
everything. He was like, all right, over, up, down,
Yeah.
up, down, and then finally he was like, oh, bat it right at the door,
Yep.
the door signal.
Geometry.
You know, that scene was rewatching it, because I found that when I first watch the episodes, I'm usually sorely disappointed, and then once
Yeah.
I rewatch the episode for the second time, I can kind of pick out the things that I do actually like, because I know all the other things that I don't
Yeah.
like. I just can kind of put those away and say, all right, I already know this happened. Let's find things I do like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, all
Mm.
right, I guess back. Unless do you guys have anything else
I
from the
did like
positive
that
side?
I did like that they brought the Purge Trooper
See, people
in
are
there.
saying Purge Trooper, but did they make him look different? Because it's not like because
Really?
it basically is a variant of the paratrooper, right?
It's a it almost looks like a shadow trooper, but more like a scout trooper helmet. A little like a scout trooper helmet, but
Okay,
it's more clone trooper esque.
so I thought the Purge Trooper was, so the Lego set, the newest Grievous Starfighter,
Yes.
the clone minifig that comes with that one.
Yeah, the airborne.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I thought it's basically an airborne trooper that's decked out in black.
I mean, he does look like that, but definitely his helmet's more less rounded. I would say it's
Okay.
more of a. It's definitely not as rounded as that one. It's
Yeah.
more. It's kind of hard to describe it. More like a clone, a mix between like an
Hmm.
episode 2 clone and a um something like that.
Maybe I just have been remembering them wrong.
Yeah, it's the ones from Fallen Order, the very first, like the ones in black with the
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing.
I remember those.
They're
Purge
actually like a
Trooper
little hard to fight
Kenobi.
Yeah.
sometimes. They're not
Not on
stormtroopers.
easy. Not on
They're not
easy.
stormtroopers.
They
Not
need you to
uneasy.
be on
John.
easy.
John.
Okay, yeah. I think it was just because of their dark outfit, it was hard to kind of pick them out.
Yeah,
Or
you really had to
recognize,
like catch it really fast because they were just walking by.
or pick their similarity to.
Oh yeah.
Carl, anything else that you particularly enjoyed?
Uh, I guess like I know it was kind of a copy of what Fallen Order, but I did kind of appreciate them getting into the base was it actually seemed like a plausible plan. Like it was something that could happen, which I think was an improvement over some of the things that happened last week. It at least kind of made sense. And so I thought that was better. like one of the better things they did, like especially when compared to their exit. Uh,
Yeah,
I feel like the what is her name? Talia?
Tala.
Uh, Tala. I didn't think she was bad. Like as far as just acting like a spy, kind of. I feel like she can like, especially in handling the issue with like the other trooper or the officer that stopped her. I don't know. I felt like her getting in was like the actress played that well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, being for like, oh, do you want me to report you kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, what about her randomly taking out that other officer, kind of no problem, 10 feet away from other?
The location I think is an issue. Her like surprise attack. I feel like she'd be able to do that. She's kind of like a
Spy.
she's yeah,
Ops.
that's her demeanor, kind of her role.
Yeah.
But the location was kind of odd that like the other three people in that room didn't hear anything. But
Something that
I
bugged
think it was
me
fine.
was when she was like, Kenobi, Kenobi, can you hear me? And the people are literally like sitting 5 feet away from
Like,
her, and
if
she's like,
that. If that.
Yeah,
just sneak around. I'll get you into this secret room. Don't let anyone see you. Don't let anyone find out you're a Jedi.
Do we not have texting?
Yeah, that part was just a little like eye roll. Okay, whatever. Just thank you for reminding me this is a campy TV show where anything can happen to fit the storyline.
yeah,
And then another thing that was when she took out the two stormtroopers, that was just a little rough where she hit the one dude
Oh yeah,
and he
she
was
just
just
like tapped him
completely stunned, and then she like
and just gone.
grabs the other stormtrooper's helmet, and he's just like, and then
ragdolls.
it was just like, okay, thanks for reminding me again.
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to look
thought
at
her meeting with Reva was kind of. I feel
cringe.
like oh, Reva seems like the kind of girl that would just kill her on the spot.
Yeah.
So her making out of that alive, while not impossible, just seemed easier than it would have been. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was still way too campy and like cheesy. I felt yeah, once again, the writing wasn't good.
Yeah, I feel like the more I think about Reva this episode, I'm going to backtrack on my statement about how she wasn't too bad, because her writing and abilities are so unbalanced to where why does she use when she uses the force probes? Because my thought is that her using my initial thought is that her using force probe, kind of like with Kylo Ren, where it takes a lot of energy out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then if you think about it, in the second episode, she uses it on that guy, and
yeah,
then immediately she does force parkour across the whole town
City.
square. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
probably not then. So she tries to use it on Leia, which that's a whole issue in and of itself, I think. And then in this instance, she just doesn't use it on Tala. Like, you can literally find out any information you want whenever you want, and you
yeah,
just choose to not use it because why? I'd be whipping that out all the time. Like, you're not telling me
Vader
that you're a
acts
spy? Okay, now I know.
Vader
bye.
Mm,
Vader axes all the Imperial officers all the time. I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah, I think my thing with her force thing, the way that I've understood it and why it hasn't been a big deal for me is I view it like the mind trick that like you see in episode 4, where it only really works on weak-minded people. And so I feel like the guy that she used it on in episode 2 was really weak-minded, but Leia's not, and like a spy that's entrenched in the Empire wouldn't be. And so that's why she's not as reliant on it or like doesn't attempt it as well.
but I don't know why she
But
wouldn't even try.
yeah,
Nah,
she should try, but I don't think it would work. But that's how I currently understand why it works sometimes and not others. Maybe it's giving her too much information, but like as far as the universe goes, I think that's what the rules that they're trying to
Hmm.
like operate by.
yeah, no, that's how like the lore is written. Like obviously the Jedi mind trick only works on the weak minded. Like everything from the games, the books, the lore, just everything. It's like you're gonna use it like 5 times, 6 times, 7 times out of 10 is probably gonna fail.
See, I always
Depending.
thought that at least not the Jedi mind trick, yes, absolutely, but the Force probing, I always figured if you are not strong in the Force, you cannot repel a mind probe. So that's not
That's actually not accurate.
okay.
So in one of the Carl would know, one of the games, Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Okay, well that's I
Um,
mean that's not
yeah,
canon.
I know. I know, but it still plays by
I'll be
the
Jake this episode. It's not canon.
It's
showed
not.
it. It still runs by the
Maybe one day.
universe's rules as far as
Does it though?
the main one of the main characters. He's basically a pilot. He's basically Han Solo, but like you come to
No,
find
not
out,
Dash Rendar. Dash Rendar
Dish
or
Render,
Kyle
yeah.
Katarn.
Well, it depends.
What?
Depends
And
on what
Knights
you
of the
want.
Old
You want a
Republic 2?
Jedi? You
That's
want a
Atten.
Jedi? No, his name's Atten Rand.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, anyways, so he's basically a Han Solo clone.
Wannabe.
But you come to find out that he was actually a Sith, and he liked to hunt Jedi, and
nice.
he was good at it because he would throw up all kinds of barriers in his mind to where he would let them read his mind. The first, the
Layer.
surface layer,
Yeah.
that would be all just a rush of emotions, or depending on how he's feeling, you know, sometimes he would be counting like counting cards, like doing stuff like that, just monotonous
Yeah.
math to where you don't think anything's going on. And he's gonna fight everybody except the strongest people that are just gonna be able to override his will, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Then that does alleviate my issue where because I figured if Riva when Riva force probed Leia that she would immediately realize, oh shoot, this girl is force sensitive because of
I
how
think that
strong
she
she
should have.
is.
I actually agree with you on that. Like, she should have sensed some kind of like extra resistance.
That is also true. Like, I mean, we've already established that Obi-Wan more or less turned himself off from the Force, but the kid doesn't know how to do that. She
Yeah.
obviously doesn't know how to do that. And she's resisting, and it's like, you're this close to this powerful of a Force user. You're using the Force. Like, these things mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of was an issue for me, and it doesn't seem to be like an issue for, Theory or Josh, which kind of surprised me. I thought
I
that was
mean,
kind of an easy hole to pick.
I mean, I don't know how much Josh knows, but I could like guarantee you that I know more about Star Wars than Theory does.
Really?
Oh,
And with all the
wow.
comics and stuff?
I mean, I've read like all the books.
See,
I don't think he's read all the books.
there's a lot in the Disney comics.
Well, yeah,
Is
but
there?
Like with my reasoning for the whole he could have walked through the fire is because literally in their own Disney comics, they've had him walking through the lava in Mustafar.
yeah,
That's an
I mean,
oversight.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys should read the newer Marvel Vader and Star Wars comics, because the man, I can't remember. I think it's the Star Wars one. I can't remember off the top of my head, but one of them actually like and it's canon because Disney's, in charge of it.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say it's the Star Wars one. They actually have a scene where Vader, after New Hope, is figuring out that Luke's his son, and Luke goes back to Tatooine and finds some of Obi-Wan's old writings, or he goes. I think he goes to either goes to his house or he goes to Obi-Wan's house,
Mhm.
and Vader hires Boba Fett to go capture Luke in the comic,
I
and they
think I've
meet at
seen videos on this.
they meet at this. I think it's Obi-Wan's house, and Luke like barely is able to get out with his life only because like some cheap trick that he pulls.
Doesn't
Mm.
Vader show up and then destroy Obi-Wan's hut? Or is
Um,
that when he kills Watto?
no, I don't think so. He does kill Watt. He does kill Watt, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, which is funny. Um, but no, like Fett goes back to him, and all the pieces get like connected and Vader fully like realizes what's going on.
Yeah.
Because it's more like hunt down the guy that shot down the Death Star. Hunt him down, like capture him. This rebel's like different. He's strong in the Force. And then everything like molds together and he figures out, oh, he's actually my son. Crazy.
Yeah.
Small
Need
world.
to find. And they even like the cool thing is they even go into it, the avenue where Vader wants to connect with Luke before the Emperor does, so that they can like team up and off the Emperor, so giving more credence to that story down the line.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
it
good book
seems
series.
like some of their comics and books have made sense and kind of fit the form, but
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with this stuff.
The money, man.
No.
So what else? What other issues with episode part 4? I'm trying to think with.
I definitely think they took way too long to figure out how to like force throw a bomb at a snowspeeder. I was like, is somebody gonna figure it out, or do I have to like go through the TV and use the Force for you?
Is it an issue that she can deflect blaster bolts from a snowspeeder with her lightsaber, or is that just like chill? I really don't know, and it's kind of an issue just because it's never really been done before. But
I don't think it's an issue. Like, more or less, the issue is the bullets from a ship that big, from a ship, artillery, ATST, you name it. If you're not deflecting all the bullets, that's hitting the ground and that's causing an explosion, and that's doing some damage to you. Unless you're forcing it away, or you have to have an explanation as to why these cannons hitting right at your feet are not going off when you're shooting 2 at a time. Like,
yeah, and they're angled inwards slightly.
yeah, slightly, not
so
like
they can,
not like this.
no,
Though.
so they can hit the target close range. But yeah, it's even the whole. You'd think a tower would have some. They would have been notified that there's ships incoming, and that
TIE fighters?
some
Yeah,
of
they
these
should have been
ships.
shot out of the sky.
TIE fighters?
And I guess it's really dumb, but it looked like they didn't have any turret defense, tower defense. So whatever. But you should still have.
You have TIE fighters and you have no turrets?
Yeah, but regardless, there are military.
Defensive.
They're attacking fighters. There are fighters. You clearly see fighters all around them. So like scramble some fighters and take out the snow speeders. I feel like that's a no-brainer, except they just, they kind of chill, fly in, and then just shoot everyone.
Yeah.
Plausible writing, please.
That was some janky CG too, in my opinion, when they had the shot behind the 2 snow speeders coming in. That was kind of janky to me.
Was it?
Because they were flying in, and then as they cut away, they were about 50 feet from the back wall, and they just cut away, and you have to assume that they did a sharp turn away.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you mentally followed the choreography or the flight path, it just wouldn't really make sense.
Right.
That's kind of nitpicky. I'll admit that's kind of nitpicky.
Yeah.
Still, y'all didn't really give y'all's ratings. What were your ratings?
Oh,
out of 10 for the episode?
I gotta go like a 5.5, 6. Probably 5.5.
6.
Okay.
6.
Yeah, I think mediocre is probably the best word. I don't know for the episode overall.
I'd say for the episode overall. You're right.
Do you have any thoughts about what'll happen next week?
Dude, part of what annoyed the crap out of me is this is literally episode 2 all over again. Like, we've already got Leia. Why do we have to get her again? It was a total filler episode. It was a filler episode, and yeah, it's like in filler episodes usually you get those flashbacks, you get those character development, even though not much happens in the story.
Yeah,
and this was a 30-minute episode, and you can't give us 5 minutes of flashbacks or 5 minutes of Kenobi, because part of it is in this episode, Kenobi didn't even
reconnect
he didn't
anywhere.
he didn't reconnect anywhere. All we can assume is, oh, he's like using it and kind of getting into it. There was no mental meditation, and that's something that's focused. Episode 4, 5, 6, episode 1, 2, 3. Heck, even the sequels have it. Clone Wars, Rebels. Like you cannot physically do until you mentally prepare and mentally heal. Which that's true for real life too. So how they could have even connected that of like, you got to get your head right before you can
use the Force.
Be effective.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten really much of that yet. So I really have no idea where they're going to go. They're going to fly probably back to Jabim. They have to go back to Jabim.
Yeah.
And because I haven't counted the days yet, but it's been like 3 days since the beginning of the show.
Maybe.
It hasn't been a week. Definitely hasn't been a week. Because we had, let's just kind of walk through it. The day, I mean, you could probably say Kenobi, that was like 3 days in episode 1 with Kenobi's life, but whatever.
Yeah.
Since Kenobi left,
right,
he went to Dayu.
Yeah.
It's day 1. Dayu was night. He leaves and goes to Mafuso. Yeah, he goes to Mafuso. Like that's day 2. Mafuso at night, he fights Vader. And then I would assume that would be day 3. So then we start day 4 attacking the.
Well, day 4 is probably healed.
Yeah, he might spend a day or 2.
So I guess we can say it's been 5 days.
Yeah.
5-ish. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Days.
Yeah, so I mean, it just feels like, and I'm not even really expecting this show to have much impact on the greater timeline. But
yeah.
So it even from the outset, it should just be a nostalgia trip, and we're not getting that. We're not getting that because one thing I didn't mention earlier was that the music has not been impactful on me. I'm a huge music person. I love Star Wars soundtracks. I love movie soundtracks. I listen to soundtracks all the time while I work or really anytime. And Mandalorian, dude, I was listening to the Mandalorian soundtrack, season 1 and 2, over and over again.
Yeah.
And this, like, I couldn't, besides the Obi-Wan theme, which is awesome because John Williams made it. Well, not because John Williams made an amazing piece of theme, but I couldn't like hum or sing one bit of music to.
It's been so forgettable. Yeah, it's been so forgettable to me that I haven't even like really thought about there being music.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can think of when Vader walked in and choked Reva. I could think of it was like sort of reminiscent of a Vader-ish style. Yeah, the Imperial March / Vader-ish style theme, but it was just like da 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 na na na, and then it was pretty much over because he was like, "Oh, I underestimated you.
Good
We're all
job.
happy now."
Do you want a Capri Sun?
Oh man,
it's just so weird, man. They need a John or what's his face?
Dave Filoni or Favreau?
Kevin. They need a Kevin Feige like overdue. All right, boys, when are we applying?
Dude,
the triple threat. The triple threat. We got it.
Like,
I'd be credit on McOr's show probably.
Nah,
experience.
Dude, that's what we have to do. We have to literally write a show.
I could do it.
And because, like, I mean, Theory said it. Josh hasn't said it. More so a theory of, like, it's literally up to the fans to make good content. Like, what in the world? Why? I mean, personally, I could take a bare bones. Yeah, I mean, it would take a huge... And you can't... I don't think... I mean, maybe at this point you can crowdfund, but... So, after this episode, is there hope? Is it possible to turn this ship around? CJ, is it possible?
It's possible for them to have a good finale, but I don't. We're 66% of the way through. I think the first 2 episodes
Oda.
pretty good,
Mhm.
but these middle two have really like. I think even if you don't like the first two, the middle two are definitely worse. And so even if it goes all the way up, you can't just like override a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. So I think they could, as much as they like hope, I think they can end it in a way that makes you somewhat hopeful for what they do in the future. But I don't think they can make it like where you look back at it all and watch it in one go and say that was a good show.
Yeah.
Man, that's the biggest problem I've had with this and Boba Fett, where I get like, man, we're like invested in this because it's the only thing to watch, and it's Star Wars, and it's the only Star Wars new content we've gotten, in however many months. But I get to the last episode or two, I'm like, man, why did they wait so long before they made it good?
Yeah.
So can they
I
turn
do
this
think it'll
around,
be
David?
end.
All
David,
right, one at a time.
Oh, you can go.
yeah, David, can they turn this show around?
Not fully, no.
Not to make it a memorable show.
They can make it good.
Yeah.
They can't make it great. They've missed the boat.
They need to, in my mind, they need to have two. Because, yeah, Kenobi isn't even fully healed. It's kind of surprising how he was able to be so chill with a scalded arm. I just realized that. Like, he's not
Well, in his back,
100%.
and his
Arm
back was all
back.
like craters, just craters. His back was all craters.
Yeah, like he was in. Tala was
Crater
even
balls.
like, "You're not fully healed. You need to be in the back." Then he just like jumped out. Unless they,
Yeah.
unless they somehow implied and I missed it that he did go back in. Whatever. Dude, they
Nope,
need like
didn't happen.
55 minutes of actual screen time for the next two episodes, 60% of each episode being proper, I mean, I'll say nostalgia trip fan service, but like, dude, at this point, that's what it would take. Clone Wars
Yeah.
Yeah.
flashbacks, talk to Qui-Gon, heck, maybe even go to
Awesome,
Dagobah, see Quinlan
awesome lightsaber
Voss.
fight.
Yeah, Voss shows up when he goes back to Jabim. Finale has a sick lightsaber fight, lightsaber training in the first half of the final episode. If Qui-Gon, I know Qui-Gon's technically not supposed to show up in the body in the Force Ghost form, but dude, at this
Mm.
point, who cares? Throw him in there.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna take all the firepower, and based on the trajectory of the story so far, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Probably not.
We'll have final judgments once it's all out, but that's just what
Yeah.
I'm seeing so far, and it doesn't look pretty.
I agree.
It's either there's too much micromanaging or we just don't have good enough people in charge.
Well,
One of the two is going on.
the
Like,
sad part, I think, and we could talk about the writer Joby Harold. I don't know if you guys saw the article that came out 2-3 days ago.
yeah, might as well talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Mm.
But I've seen so many comments about how people are loving the show and it's like the best Star Wars. So, I mean, and I don't want to dissuade people from liking the show, but because there has been a lot of, I mean, it looks like pretty much a lot of positive feedback. Like the writers in Lucasfilm will think this is what people like, so keep doing more of this, and kind of sucks.
I'm not as worried about it only because well, one, it's not the same people doing all of it. It's so like the later stuff, I think they'll have a little bit more time to like iron out some of the inconsistencies and like shoot it better. And then the stuff attached to the Mandalorian, uh, they have the same crew that worked on those two shows, like actually doing it, and they've already done a good job. So at least we'll have something good.
Yeah.
Like I think the Ahsoka show will be much better than this. Uh, and actually, like I think the Acolyte will be a good show. So,
I
but
hope so.
I
I
hope
hope
so
so.
too.
I mean, there's
But
only so many legacy characters they can
Yeah,
screw over.
I think that'll really help them as if they move past like
They mess up Darth Revan.
this like period around the original trilogy and move like past or future so that they have more liberty to do what they want and it doesn't like mess with stuff that we believe is supposed to be true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're like you said, their own characters. Mandalorian, you could say that, the Rebels characters could technically be called Disney characters.
Yeah.
And Filoni is involved with that. Favreau, he's not a guaranteed 10 out of 10, 1,000 swinger, but
Yeah.
because Boba Fett was what it was, but we know he can make Mandalorian. That's gonna go crazy, man. I think Mandalorian season 3 is gonna go so hard going back to Mandalore. But that's a different.
Thrawn.
You don't think so? Oh, Thrawn, yeah.
Thrawn.
I mean, that's gonna be a Ahsoka show, but that's a completely different. That's a different
They could do
podcast
both.
for another day.
I mean,
Right.
there's what were we talking about? There's rumors that they were gonna like pull a bunch of the stories together
For a
for the
theatrical release, maybe. I mean, I think that's rumor, conjecture.
But I mean, even a show, like they pull everybody together for. Like all I'm hoping for is the original Thrawn trilogy, something semi-similar to where Thrawn, we already got the Dark Troopers, but like in the original Thrawn trilogy, he finds a clone of a Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and basically the Jedi turns evil, the clone, and he has like a Darth Vader, to help him on his quest, more or less. But he's kind of crazy.
Did you guys watch much of the Disney or Star Wars Celebration panels and interviews on the main stage?
Nah.
No, I didn't
So
watch much of it.
Filoni actually referenced the Timothy Zahn Thrawn novels. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was the 90s.
Yep, they were the 90s.
So he's like, and I think it was the Discord message I sent a couple weeks ago when it happened. He was like, we understand that we're touching characters that people already know. They know how they should be. And so we need to know how they should be and treat them that way. So like, yes, thank you. Thank you and bless you.
Someone gets it. Tell the rest.
Go
Say
forth
it
and
for the kids in the back.
Exactly. So let's go back to the writer of the
Obi-Wan.
of the Kenobi show, Joby Harold. He had an interview with, I think it was The Wire or The Wrap, and he basically said how, I don't think he went as far as say that he never saw Revenge of the Sith, but he didn't. He didn't. Here, let's just pull it up.
Yeah.
Joby Harold, Revenge of the Sith. But basically, he didn't know. He had to ask someone to get confirmation because he didn't know that Kenobi knew that Anakin and Vader were the same person. So, like, he didn't know that, Kenobi actually sees...
Episode 4 was a thing? Or what?
Before. So he didn't understand that in episode 3, he literally sees
a hologram.
Palpatine knighting Anakin as Lord Vader. Rise, Lord Vader.
Rise.
So like this is just indicative of the fact that he had to ask someone and be like, wait, does Obi-Wan know that Anakin is Vader? Does he know that?
It's so weird because that's not even like I could probably have asked every single kid in my 4th grade classroom or 4th, 5th grade classroom, and they would have known because everybody raised their hand that we saw Revenge of the Sith. We're qualified to work on this.
I mean, essentially that's all that takes. Yeah, it seems like, and he goes on the rest of the article talking about how he uses Pablo Hidalgo as a fact checker, essentially, when he probably should be calling Sam Witwer, and then Sam Witwer should be going like, you don't know the basics, bruh. You should know the basics. Because
We
it
got 6
basically
movies. All 6.
it basically came down to the fact that he didn't. I just lost my train of thought. He didn't know if he wanted to use that story point of Obi-Wan finding out that Vader is alive. And so I think that's why it was written where Reva says, Vader is alive. She says it at the same time.
Anakin's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't know that, he knows Anakin is Vader.
Well, and like the article went on to say that, he feels or like imply that he knows more about Star Wars than all the Star Wars fans do, and George Lucas himself.
Yeah. He says, well, let's just get the direct. Lore, does he say lore fans?
I don't know. I saw the article once, and I was like, man, how do these people keep getting jobs? I don't get it. Give me a job, I can write better.
Yeah. See, question: does he know the moniker Vader? What that would mean? Can he associate the two? Was he cognizant of? How isolated is he? Where's Vader at the time? Where's Vader's reputation, and how well known is he? After 10 years, I feel like he would have a really, really good indication of, or the galaxy would have a really good indication of Vader.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're saying. Bump it on, the other spoke, the Emperor knew. Here we go. No, I can't find it. So he did say that you sort of have a big idea and you say, hey, can I do this? And someone goes, no. And you go, okay, fine, laughs. Or they say, yeah, you're allowed to do that. And then we canoodle and see if it bears fruit. Like, it just seems like they're experimenting with the story and then not really having a true idea of what to do.
It really seems like we have a lot of people that don't know Star Wars, and they're given free reign to an extent to just do whatever. Make it up as you go. Oof.
Let's see.
So strange.
So, I mean, are there really any theories we can have at this point? I really don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know even what like location they'd end up in for their final confrontation.
Yeah, I can't find the exact quote, but yeah, he basically was like, yeah, I mean, this is the stuff talking about Revenge of the Sith and knowing if Obi-Wan knows Vader. He's like, yeah, this kind of stuff is, only stuff that the real hardcore fans would know, and that like the deep lore things that we have the privilege of knowing. It's like, bro, that's like basic
It's
knowledge.
in the movie.
Like, you don't have to be a deep Star Wars fan to know that, yeah, Obi-Wan knows Vader and Anakin are the same person. Or he knows he goes by that name.
And regardless, like, the presence in the Force. So it's like, oh yeah, I see his picture. I see his social security number. Like, there's only one social security number this belongs to. Everybody's using the Force. So I don't know how hard it is to understand.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. So anyway. Any final thoughts? I think we're nearing the end of this discussion.
I don't have really anything to add. I think we covered most of what we could about this episode.
Yeah, had some good moments. Had a lot of questionable moments.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if this next episode can turn it in the right direction. Unfortunately, like when you golf under or no, over on a couple holes, you can only come back so much. So I feel like this is just about clawing back some of that ground that we've lost and maybe having some rewatchable moments. I feel like this season show so far can come down to a couple of rewatchable moments in some YouTube clips.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bad
As
when we
opposed
have,
to
like,
sitting down and watching a whole episode or part.
yeah. Sad.
So, we'll see what we get. Yeah, I think we'll be back next week for another stream of part 5. And I don't think Jake's going to be joining us next week either. I think he's got 2 weeks out. So
Okay.
we'll have to catch him for the finale.
Pray for your soldiers.
Well, he's out there in the sticks fighting for our freedom. So,
Mhm.
alrighty. Well, this is the Rogue Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this live stream. If you're rewatching, let us know in the comments of your thoughts, and we'll try to reply. Maybe integrate some of that into the next week's episode, next week's stream. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on next week's podcast. May the Force be with you. Yes, always. See you guys later.